Sorry. I really apologize. No. We were enthralled. Anyway. This is, on another note, it's White Orange Shirt Day, in case you didn't get the memo, Ross and I. Twinkies.
15 minutes, I would have gotten it changed. We appreciate y'all's patience. A couple quick reminders. We do have select tickets still available. Fans can buy those at ClemsonTigers.com or calling 1-800-CLEMSON. The other thing of note this week is our annual Pod Journey Week. Many of you all are familiar with the work that Jeff Davis, Savannah, Rashard, and Travis do with that group. If you all need any information or context from us on that, feel free to see me after this. With that, I will turn it over to Coach Sweet.
All right, thanks, Ross. Great break for us. It really was a good break. I think everybody needs a break every now and then. I'm sure y'all missed us this weekend, but it was a lot of fun. Just kind of taking Saturday and Sunday and enjoying some family time and doing some stuff, but also really watching football. I mean, it's I would doubt many accountants take a weekend off and then sit around and watch accounting or take accounting, work on some more accounting. Most time you take a break from what you do, but or a dentist, you get a weekend off, they probably don't, sit around and work on somebody's teeth or something, but it's crazy. Football coach is it's a weird job. Get a weekend off, and what do? You watch football, and so it was fun. It was fun to just kind of be a fan and watch some other games and see other teams, especially some of the teams you maybe don't get to see quite as much. Stayed up too late watching a couple of the games, but a fun weekend and just excited to get back at it. Again, it's when you take a break from something that you love too, it's good, but it also, I just think re-energizes you a little bit and helps you have an appreciation for what you get to do. That sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you just get so tied up into the doing of it. Sometimes you don't think about that as much. So excited to get back. The guys are excited to get back at it this week. Really good energy at practice last night. Florida State is a very they're the most talented team we've played, and all you got to do is check the recruiting rankings if those things mean anything. I think they've out-recruited us, probably 5 out of the last 7 years or more. If you went back further than that, we might have beaten them twice in 10 years. So we don't beat those guys in recruiting a whole lot. And so they got a bunch of good players. Easily the most talented team we've played to this point. So going into Game 6, on paper, roster, they're the most talented group. And so we got a big challenge there, and they're getting better. Should probably be 5-0. I'm sure that they're really disappointed and kicking themselves for what happened against Boise, a game that they, they were, like 30-something to 13 or so with about 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, and really just kind of blew it. And that's a frustrating thing as a coach. And the same thing against Virginia. Had a chance to really win that game on the road at Virginia, and so they're truly 2 or 3 plays from being 5-0. So they're really talented, but the biggest thing is they're getting better. They've started to create an identity, and they're playing better together. Really fast, physical. I think they're running the ball a lot better as far as what they're trying to do in the run game. Different from last year. Cam Akers everything goes through him. He is a workhorse. He's physical. He's a very committed runner. We're probably a little soft in the last couple games as far as the run. We've played a couple of good backs, and so we got to match that physicality and that mindset, because this back he's a committed dude, and you better have your big boy pads on, and he may get some zeros, he may get some ones, he may get some twos, but he just keeps coming, and they keep giving him the ball. So, but that sets everything else up to what they do, because they're very RPO oriented. A lot of quick game, a lot of shots, big splits, tempo, double moves, and they got guys outside that can go get it. They're getting better up front. It was an area that they obviously struggled in last year, and I think that they're much improved. And, obviously they've had to play two different quarterbacks. Both of those guys can win for them. Both of them are experienced and poised players. Both are going to run the offense. I don't think you see a whole lot different. One has been around longer, probably a little bit more efficient as far as maybe scrambling. They'll run a little option, but they don't run him a lot. He's been a little more efficient in his scrambling. He has produced 9 touchdowns, and Hunter Brooks produced, I think, 5 or so. So they're both efficient, throwing the ball and making some plays. But it all starts with stopping the run against those guys, and then trying to win your matchups, because you've got to be able to win some matchups against these guys. This is skill on skill outside, so it's handling the tempo, it's lining up properly, it's the right depths, it's the right leverage, eyes on the right things, and doing it over and over and over and over. Because if you don't, here comes a big play. So very, very capable group offensively and defensively. It's the biggest group we've seen. They are huge across the front, and they've been in and out of kind of some even and oaky fronts. So they've changed it up a little bit over the 5 games as far as what they've done defensively. 11 is a really special player. I think he's very, very talented. Has the ability to pressure the quarterback. 21 is a very good player. 91. I mean, they're all 300. And I don't know what it says on here, but they're probably over whatever it says. I mean, so they're just big guys that's hard to move. And but they've done a nice job. They're creating a lot of turnovers. They're +5 in the margin. Probably the biggest thing that's hurt them, and probably from being 5-0, is they've had a lot of penalties. So they've had a bunch of penalties and a bunch of sacks that have hurt them. But they've also overcame a lot of that because they're +5 in the turnover margin, and they've had some short fields in some of these games to work with. So that's a big factor in this game because we're -1. It's an area we've got to improve in, taking care of the football. And then we did not create a turnover at North Carolina. It's the first time in a long time we hadn't got a turnover. And so we've been very advantageous that way. So we got to get back to getting our hands on the ball, creating some turnovers, and then taking care of it offensively. That'll be a huge stat in this game. We win the turnover margin, we win the game. Simple as that. And vice versa. Because they're as talented as, again, anybody that we've played or will play from that standpoint. So it's a good group. It's going to be a huge challenge for us. We're excited about it. It's going to be, Clemson, Florida State. It's a special game. It has been for a long time. This is my 17th Clemson, Florida State game, so I've been a part of a bunch of them. And, it never gets old. This is one of those games that, at least for the last 10 years, it's settled the division. The team that's won this game has won the division and represented the Atlantic. We got a long way to go. I think we got 39 more days before the division is going to be settled, and every day is important. And so this will be a huge game for both teams. Both teams want the same thing. The winner of this game is in control of their division destiny, and that's what we all want to do. At the end of the year, there's only 2 teams that get to go to Charlotte, and so this is a really playoff football. That's what college football is. Every week it's playoff football. It's division playoff football this week for us. So, and same thing for them. But it's exciting, to be where we want to be and have all of our goals still there. And, being at home this week is huge. The Valley's going to be rocking. We need our fans to show up and continue to give us that incredible environment that we've had. I think it can be a big factor in this game. And so last thing I just would mention, I know that they've talked about Paul Journey, but just a few things. This is what we call Paul Journey Week here, and it's where we do highlight that part of our program, just annual recognition to the way we develop, connect, and empower our student athletes. And just collectively, Paul Journey provides over 85 initiatives per year. We have 25 Paul Journey ambassadors. There's a process. These are guys from our team that become ambassadors. There's a process they have to go through, and they have to be voted on by the other ambassadors. They have to have letters of recommendation and so forth. So it's a really cool thing that we have, and those guys create opportunities for the entire team. And, the objectives are career development, community service, life skills, and then our former player engagement. From a career development standpoint, we've had 100% career placement for our 36 senior scholar athletes from last year's team, 2018-19 class. We had 37 guys this past summer participate in micro internships in 2 countries and 8 states. So just a really awesome opportunity, and it's about a 10 or 12 day so window. And what that does is allows them to get as much professional development as they can get, but also, work with their schedules. And allows them to get that real world experience. We had 14 student athletes that went up to New York in our business week for spring break, and they were with American Express, Def Jam, the NFL, Madison Square Garden, Endeavor, and several other companies up there. And then our community service, we had a group go over to Thailand this past May. We serving over 900 hours at the Mercy Center School for underprivileged children. So that was in Bangkok, Thailand. And this year, we've already served over 1,300 hours as a team. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful program within our program. And life skills, those are public speaking, it's financial literacy, it's social media, it's branding, it's networking, it's all those things. And then our former player engagement. Travis Blanks came in. Felt like that was an area that I think that we could do a better job in. And, man, he has really hit the ground running. And just want our players to be connected. Been here long enough now. I got a lot of former players, and I just want those guys to always feel like they're connected to our program. And so whether it's a newsletter, they have somebody to reach out to talk to, hey, I'm coming back into town, whatever it may be. And Travis has done an awesome job, coming on board. So we just want to take the time to thank Paul Journey, Jeff Davis, and Savannah, and Rashard, and Travis, and Reggie. They do an amazing job in serving our players, and really just wake up every day thinking about how we can empower our players, create those tools for life that we talk about all the time in our program, and create opportunities for them and take advantage of this moment in life that they have. It's a very short moment. So when they leave here, if they get a chance to go play football, that's great, but we really want them to make the transition now, not after football ends. We want them to already have made that transition away from football before football ever ends for them. And so they're prepared and ready to go. So that's a little bit about Paul Journey. And again, we'll be featuring that a lot this week through our different social media outlets and so forth. And just can't say enough about the people who are involved in everything that goes on in that group. With that, I'll take your questions.
Kendal Briles, when you look at the way that he runs an offense, this is really your first time, I guess, going against him. You even had a tight end line up the wrong way for an 11-yard gain earlier this year. What do you see out of the way that he calls plays and kind of what they do?
Yeah, well, first of all, committed to the run. Again, whether it's 0, 0, 0, 2, 3, committed to the run. 40, he don't give up on that. So I think that's the number one thing. Tempo. They play really fast, and I'm sure they'll really try to play a lot of tempo on us to try to neutralize our substitutions and maybe get us to miss a line and some things like that. But so we got to do a good job of that. Splits, you got some of these guys, they'll line up, on the sideline. Really, really wide splits. So just got to do a good job with your leverage. And then, I think he simplified them a little bit. They're a little more downhill running game. Last year, everything was kind of this way, but they're running more lead zone, split flow zone, influence, counter. Still got all the jet sweeps, but they're a little different style as far as their run game. And then, all the RPOs and lots of RPOs, lots of, that's one of the reasons to get all these wide splits. And a lot of slants, a lot of double moves, and then just drop back and, let it rip, downfield, because they got some really good skill. Try to create one-on-ones, but it all starts with that run game. He's committed to it. And, last year they did not run the ball very well. But they're a work in progress in that area. But he's got a good guy to be committed to it with in that number 3. Good football player.
You say y'all have been a little soft
zero in on what y'all have.
Well, we just missed some tackles, and then we didn't fit a few things up properly, and we played a couple teams that were very committed to running the ball, and Charlotte was really good. I told y'all going in, I was like, these guys can flat out run the football, and just their style of play, and then so it doesn't take, but what we have after the turnover, they busted a 31-yard run on us and just ran the power. And we didn't fit it up right. And then later on, on third and 2 on that last drive, maybe we missed 2 tackles, and that was a long run, down the 2. So you don't take but a couple runs, and next thing you know, and especially when they're just sticking with it. And so we gave up 4.1, and we gave up 3.9 to Charlotte. So it's not like they're averaging 8, but that's not our standard. And so just being disciplined, lining up right. Having your eyes on the right things, squeezing properly. We just details is really it, and some missed tackles. So it's not like people were just mashing us and knocking us off the ball and things like that, but just being detailed. Because when you don't do things right, those good backs have a way of finding those creases, and so that's probably the biggest thing. And especially Charlotte. Charlotte, kind of late in the game, got a couple that hurt us. And again, even though you got different guys in there, we don't change the standard. It all counts. And the same thing up there at North Carolina. They just popped a couple. We had not given up any really big runs, and they popped a couple runs on us. And so we got to do a better job with that and being where we're supposed to be. And then you got to be physical because, again, this is a very committed team to running it and a very committed back who's you better have your big boy pads on because he's going to keep coming. So got a lot of respect for how he plays. He's taken a lot of hits. He's had a lot of carries. He's got a bunch of carries, and he's a physical guy. So you better match that mindset, or he'll bloody your nose.
Isaiah said yesterday that he and the other players kind of approached last week like it was a game week rather than a bye week. Are you pleased with what you saw from their accountability and the way they practiced last week? Oh
yeah. We did not play, well at North Carolina on either side of the ball. It's too many mistakes. I mean, just you're not going to beat many teams when you turn the ball over and give good field position. You're not going to beat many teams when you're soft versus a run. When you got a bunch of penalties, you cannot get anything going, from a rhythm standpoint because you're constantly shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm just talking about things we control. All right, that's not. You don't want to take anything away from the opponent because you got to give them credit. They had a good plan, made good plays, played tough, played clean, played a very clean game. They had been turning it over, no turnovers. I mean, they did a good job. They milked the clock. They had the ball for the whole fourth quarter, 11 minutes and 3 seconds. So it was a good formula for them. But so you give them credit. But the things that we control, that's what we got to do. We say don't lose to Clemson, and to be honest with you, we did lose to Clemson, but we still won the game. And so that's a positive that we don't have to play perfect to win, but we need to play well, and we've played well. The first 4 games, I thought we played well. Didn't have very much adversity. We had a little adversity here or there in some pockets in games that we responded well to, but we really didn't have a fourth quarter in those first 4 games that anybody was sweating. We had control of the games. So from that standpoint, it's a little bit of there's a positive there too. So how you going to respond? So I thought they responded well, especially offensively in the fourth quarter when you had the ball. And so you had very minimum plays, so you better make it count. And we found a way to get it done. And then defensively, they really hadn't put a drive together. Now they put a long drive together. And you got to play one more play, and you find a way to get it done. So there's a lot of positives. Same thing with Trevor, as I said last week. 20 games, I've never seen Trevor in a fourth quarter with the game on the line in his career. He didn't play much. I don't think he played maybe at all in the fourth quarter of A&M last year. I don't even know if he played much in the second half. And then he obviously wasn't in the game past the second quarter of the Syracuse game. So I'd never seen him. And he didn't have a great game. And so how's he, just that part of it there was a lot of positives that came out of that. Just the leadership, the moxie, the will to win, guts, on the road, the whole world's against you. You're just like, man, how we gonna battle through this? And so there were some real positives that I think we can build on. But the biggest thing is we gotta play cleaner. That's not indicative of our season. It was one game. So guys were eager to get back to work, and a lot of accountability in this team. We got really good leadership. Now, again, we're really young. We got a lot of guys that have never lost a game. We got a lot of guys that, they don't really understand. There's a process that from developing a team, and we just, you got 80 freshmen and sophomores on your roster. It's a lot of youth, but I love the leadership that we have, and these guys care. They're committed. So the response was good. Back to work. A lot of self-scout. I think it was really good for us. As we study each other and then obviously study ourselves and get ready for Florida State. So it was a good week and came at a good time for us. And now it's time to get back to work and see if we can hit our stride.
You've had the last 4 years, Renfrow, 180, 190 catches. Who's kind of been challenged to take that role this year?
I mean, everybody. I mean, we're our third down percentage is higher. I think last year we were maybe 42%, and we're right at 46%. So, and that's with some throwaway third downs. In a couple of these games, we kind of, some garbage play. So we've done a nice job. We just got to keep playing. Omari, he's only played 2 games. That first game up there at Syracuse, he had 2 touchdowns and pretty dang productive. One of them was about 90. And then he didn't play hardly at all against Charlotte. Maybe a quarter or so, and then we get up there last week. So he's really only played 2 games. But Amari and Ross and T and Overton, those are the main 4 guys right now. And then our backs, everybody's a part of it. Trevor Lawrence, so we're gonna be all right.
Coach, you had the bye week to rest everybody up and heal them up. Can you update us on Tanner Muse and how everybody's doing as far as getting all the nicks and bruises?
Yeah, it was a very clean injury report yesterday, which was good to see. So guys were feeling good, and everybody was back at it. Obviously, Blake Vincent is gone, and then we did Matthew Maloney's surgery Friday. He had his surgery, but outside of those 2 guys, everybody's back and ready to go.
You do a good job of trying to control the noise from the outside, making sure it doesn't penetrate in here. But do you think those outside these walls hold you to a standard that's impossible to possibly meet?
Man, I don't even think about it. The Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." So we control things from the inside out. If you try to live your life from the outside in, and a lot of people do that, whether it be individually. They live their lives from the outside in. Oh, what do people think of me? How's my hair today? Oh God, I got a pimple on my cheek, and they're always feeling judgment. Or you're a team, and you're affected by the outside. You're never going to be great. I think individually, like I said, as the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." So that means it's about how I think. And we always say, don't let anybody walk between your ears with their dirty feet, right? That's just, do you control that? So if you got to focus on the things that you control. When you focus on the things that you don't control, those things control you, right? So let's don't focus on the things that we have 0 control over. I have no control over what David and Gene write or say. I ain't worried about it. They got a job to do, respect their job. But if I'm worried about what other people say, then I'm distracted. I'm not inside out. So I just think that's very important, is to think the right way. And when you're dealing with young people, I think that's very important. Our program blossomed from the inside out, not from the outside in. One of the first things I said when I got the job, I came in and I wrote down all the things that we had never done, all the things that hadn't done in forever, and all the things that people said we could never do. And I said, you know how we change that? From the inside out. All right, is go to work, one day at a time, do your best, be about the right things, and don't get distracted by stuff that doesn't matter. You know, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody, you know, most people really don't understand and really don't know, so don't sit around and judge those people. I mean, it just doesn't matter. You know, you just focus on the things that you control, and you know, again, you blossom from the inside out, and that's just what we try to focus on, and not be affected by that.
How hard is that to harness with such a young team, though?
Well, I mean, it's something you know that that's the world we live in. So it's not. I don't think you harness. You just teach. I just think you teach, you educate, you communicate every single day. You got 120 young people who have families and friends and social media and all these things, and it's so just part of it. Yeah, but I like it. I'm glad that we got people that have an opinion on Clemson. I think that's great. You know, it means we matter. You know, our program matters, and it's good that people are talking about Clemson, good or bad. You know, they stink. They're great. You know, whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters to us is just playing well. You know, but you know, I mean, it's fun too. I mean, I had open week, so I went back out to the shed this week, and I took the tarp off the Roy bus, just took it off. You know, I thought we were off the Roy bus for a while. I just took it off, pumped the tires back up, gave it a bath, a little oil change, ran down there to the $5 oil change, fluffed up the seats a little bit. We're back on the Roy bus, man. I mean, here we go.
Dabo, you've kind of addressed the name, image, and likeness thing and what you said about that. If that were to go through, do you think Clemson could be at a competitive disadvantage against schools that have a lot more alumni and a lot richer alumni than little old Clemson does?
Little old Clemson. I mean, we've probably been at a disadvantage for a long time around here, little old Clemson. If you look at alumni and all those things, but we've found a way to blossom from the inside out. And so, again, not worried about things we don't control. And I there's no way for me to answer that because I have no idea. There's a lot of positive that could come from it. I have no idea. We'll just have to kind of let all the smart people figure it all out, and then I can have an educated answer. But until that happens, it's just a waste of my time. I get ready for Florida State. That's my reality.
The decision to play more dime, has that impacted the growth of this team and the learning curve in terms of stopping the run and being as physical as you talked about earlier?
No, I think we're top 10 in the country in stopping the run. I think we're giving up 12 points a game. We've played 5 games, better teams than we played last year after 5 games, better opponents, and we're giving up 12 points a game. Last year we were giving up 16 points a game with all them miracle people that we had. So, I mean, that kind of answers it. We're top 10 against the run. We're one of the best defenses out there. It's hard to score on us. I mean, we just had a couple bad plays. But it's really just kind of fitting things up. And I love our growth. I think after 5 games, holy cow. This was going to be a tough September. I knew it coming in. And again, I knew there'd be some adversity. I thought it'd probably be more A&M, maybe at Syracuse, early, a lot of inexperience, but we really played well in those games. But it just, we just kind of had a game. That's what happens. North Carolina's got a pretty good first group on both sides. And, you get up there and again, you don't have quite your A game and it gets rolling against you. But I love our development. I mean, I think our 5 ends, I'm so much more confident in them right now than I was coming into the season. We got enough experience now. These guys have had a little success. They've had some failure. There's been a lot of coaching going on, a lot of teaching through camp and through 5 games that now they can go apply. They got more knowledge. So what's wisdom? It's the application of knowledge. So now we just need to apply the knowledge and look like some guys that have learned through 5 games, you know, and not make some of the same mistakes, you know, so I'm much more confident in our development. And same thing inside. You know, Tyler Davis has played 5 games now, and he's got some knowledge. He's got some experience. And, you know, same thing with Niles and the role that he's in and becoming a starter, and Jordan. Good to see Jordan have a big sack last week, and getting Darnell and Xavier some experience. I mean, we're better, but our backers, I really like what we got going on there. I like our depth. As I told you in August, the best part of our defense is the back 7. I think it's as good a group as we've had, and that has proven to be the case. Guys are smart. They're very rarely out of position. Do we give up a play from time? Yeah, they're human. I mean, do we miss a tackle? Yeah, every now and then. But our alignment, we've done a nice job. You know, we have very few busts. We had, you know, Isaiah busted on the crossing route on 3rd and 9 at North Carolina. There's nowhere to go with the ball, and he should have. He's got to let that go, and then we're sitting right there, and it's a sack. You know, Xavier's going to sack him. You know, but he's playing man. Everybody else is playing zone, and here's a guy wide open. But very little of that. Very, very, very little busts. So I think our development is really good. Now, we got to get better. I mean, we have to get better as a team across the board. If you're playing your best football right now, it's probably not going to end well for you. You know, we're 5-0, and we're not even close to playing our best football. And so, but again, you got a bunch of young guys, and just where this team was last year, that team got better and better and better. The application of knowledge, and so that's kind of, you know, what I'm anxious to see with this team.
Coach, no one on your roster has ever lost to Florida State. Do you feel like your players have an appreciation for what this rivalry means to the ACC, or does that even matter to you?
It don't matter. No, we're not. These guys could care less. They're not sitting around worrying about, you know, what it matters. They just want to win the game. They want to do that right there. They want to win the division. They want to play well. It's pride in their performance. They understand, you know, who we're playing, and I mean, Florida State's one of the greatest programs in the history of college football. So they're still Florida State. There's no different. I mean, these guys are talented, and it's, you know, it's a new staff, and they're getting better, and they're confident. You know, they can play with anybody. And, you know, we got 2 quarterbacks we're dealing with. And so they're just focusing on playing well. They're focusing on trying to stay in control of their destiny. You know, I don't think any of them are sitting back going, wow, this is, you know, some great historic moment. That's not the case. They're just trying to play well and you know, seize this moment, take advantage of this opportunity.
Along those lines, does Clemson now remind you of Florida State in its heyday?
Does Clemson remind me of Florida State?
Where you guys are now as a program?
You know, I hope not. I hope Clemson is Clemson. You know, I mean, we're not trying to be anybody else. We're not trying to remind anybody of anybody else. We're just trying to be the best version of us. You know, year in and year out. I would say, consistency-wise, I mean, there's some similarities. I mean, obviously they have about 14 10-win seasons in a row, something like that. You know, so I mean, we're a long way away from that, but we've been pretty consistent. So I think that standpoint. But when you look at it, since my 10 years, as Georgia Tech beat us the first year in 9. So we've played for it 6 times, and Florida State's played for it 4 in the last 10 years, and won it. You know, either team, with the exception of Georgia Tech there that first year. So, you know, they're Florida State. I mean, they're a great program.
That wide receiver, number 15, Terry, is he about as good a wide receiver as you're going to see?
Yeah, he's good. He can cut on a dime. You know, they got some speed. They got fast, and they got real fast on those guys outside. So you got to do a good job of challenging them, and you know, you give them some of those easy plays, they can make a guy miss and take it the distance. But 15 is a really good football player. Just again, his ability to change direction and cut on a dime. He's a definite playmaker for him.
Dabo, you talked about FSU's commitment to the run. What about you guys? I think Etienne and Lynn J had 4 combined carries in the second half in Chapel Hill.
Well, they had the ball 11 minutes and 3 seconds in the fourth quarter, and then we had a 3-play drive touchdown. So just style of play, and then and then rhythm. We had 3rd and 1, jumped offside, 2nd and 5. We throw a screen pass and fall down. That's probably going to go for 50. So just rhythm in the offense. And again, time of possession. I mean, sometimes we only had 60-something snaps. I mean, we try to get 80-plus snaps a game, and sometimes that gets affected because we've been explosive too, and you can have a big play touchdown, and that can deviate that or skew that a little bit. But I mean, we're very committed to the run, for sure. I think one of the best running teams in the country, and after 5 games, probably not as good as we want to be, but we got a long season ahead.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but how big was this week for Trevor specifically to have kind of the pause with how up and down his play has been over the start of the season?
I don't think he's up and down. I mean, I mean, I'm not going to agree with you on that. I mean, he's had a couple bad plays. I think he's 5-0, and he's made a lot of great plays. I mean, he's not perfect. When you say up and down, I mean, you're trying to get me to agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. He's been very consistent, actually. He's not some cyborg robot that never is going to make a mistake, and so I just think that his success is maybe creates a little different standard that people have for him, but he's run the ball exceptionally well. He's made huge plays with his legs. He's made some big-time scramble throws, big time, like elite. So I think he's done pretty good. I didn't think he played great at North Carolina. I thought he had a couple of mental errors that he doesn't normally have, and he missed a touchdown throw. But I wouldn't say he's up and down. I think he's been pretty consistent. Can he do better? Sure, absolutely. There's not anybody coaching or playing that can't improve and get better. But the break for him was good, just like not because he's been some bad player. We're 5-0. He's a big reason for it.
What were some of the biggest takeaways from the self-scout you guys did last week?
Well, I'm not going to get into our analysis. I would think, I'm sure this is riveting TV. People watch these press conferences. So I'm not going to get into our self-scout, but it's very beneficial to us, and what we do, how we position people, tendencies that come off of formations, and different things. When those things happen, but we look at everything. We look at everything, whether it be, like I said, the formations, the personnel, placement. Are we tipping things? Are we giving? What are the tells? And that's one of the reasons we do a crossover, and they break us down like they're playing Clemson. We break them. The offensive guys break the defense down like we're playing Clemson's defense, because coaches see things differently, and so it's just really helpful. And then we do the same thing for the opponent. We usually do a crossover every week, for the opponent, and then we do a self-scout. We do a self-scout offensively, and they do a self-scout defensively every 2 games. But we get about 4 or 5 games, we like to do a crossover, and because you can get some good, it might be something simple, maybe that we're tipping with a tight end or OL or receiver stance or quarterback footwork, or just some nuance that maybe the offense hadn't noticed or the defense hadn't noticed. Again, because you have a different lens, a different way to look at things. So that's very helpful. But a lot of good things, and then and then the computer spits out a bunch of information. There's a lot of computer-generated information that we study that's helpful for us, and then we go back to work.
Seems like you've been targeting Chalk more in the passing game the last couple games, even on 3rd down. You feel pretty good about where he is in the passing game, and,
Yeah.
and as far as Davis and Jalen, are they getting close to where you feel good, comfortable with using them in the tight game?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say we're targeting JC. That's just how it's worked out. We've had some bootlegs, off of our run game that have been, good solid plays for us where he's a factor in the run game, and he's been able to have some nice plays, and he did have a nice third down play. But again, that's just that's quarterback driven, based on where the read takes him. So it's not like like I said, or have targeted him like, okay, look, we got to get the ball to JC. It just happens, and I'm not trying to force anything, but on that, I've been really pleased with him. He's made some nice plays. He's become really steady. His confidence is up. He's become, he's still improving and developing, but he's really made some good progress in 5 games as far as what we need him to do in the run game.
Davis and Jalen getting close.
Yeah. Davis is coming along. Jalen, they're practicing, doing a good job. Price has been probably the next guy for us. Really, just a little bit more of a veteran guy. He's physical. He's one of the strongest kids on the team. He's got a nice edge to him that we like, and he's probably the most dependable. The next guy, and then those other two, we're bringing them along.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. What's that? You're welcome.